Okay, everybody, welcome back to part 2 of Ask the King episode 43. Be sure if you didn't see part 1 to head on back and check it out because there were lots of good questions answered in that one, and we're going to go right into it because we've got to keep moving with the amount of questions I got this episode. We got to keep it moving, all right? So, next question. The next 2 questions are actually common questions that I got from many different people, so I figured I would answer them here. The first one is, am I ever planning on going back to Grand Theft Auto Online? Now, let's talk a little bit about this. Grand Theft Auto Online was the online component of Grand Theft Auto 5 that was promised to everyone would be available in early October of 2013. Ended up being highly disappointing because the servers couldn't handle the capacity of people trying to play. They crashed constantly. You couldn't even get into the game. Once you got into the game, there was rampant trolling and people just there to basically make your day miserable, okay? And the bottom line was, unlike the other online plays of other Rockstar games that were sandbox games, this game really wasn't about just going around and doing whatever you wanted. It was about doing a set list of missions that unfortunately were kind of repetitive and weren't very interesting. It was too structured. And that was the major criticism a lot of people gave the online play of GTA Online. Now, I personally had wanted to revive the Suicide Kings, which was a series of videos that I did way back when Red Dead Redemption had come out, where myself, John Rambo, our friend Mayor McJustin, and several other people had teamed up online to do crazy ways to kill yourself. Jumping off of cliffs, doing crazy flips, riding off of things on horses and carriages, just flying off of waterfalls. It ended up being one of my most popular series I've ever done on YouTube. But I wanted to do that in Grand Theft Auto 5. I said, finally, a Rockstar game that's a sandbox game, that's an open world, maybe I can recreate it. And it didn't really work out that well. It didn't. Some of the things you would think would have been epic were horrible. 2 cars driving on opposite ends of an airstrip, going at maximum speed, headline collision, they just go bonk and stop. No one flies out of the car, nothing explodes, nothing. And you're like, what? Come on, man. And don't get me wrong, there was some fun stuff. We were flying helicopters. We were doing all things with aerial vehicles. We were trying to rack up the wanting levels. But none of it really was like epic to the point where it was funny, laugh out loud, hilarious like the original Suicide King was. And at that point, I said, that's it. This is kind of a failed experiment. And in my opinion, Rockstar really kind of failed. They didn't hit the mark with GTA Online. They tried to make it something that people weren't really looking for. And so I stopped playing it as of late last year. Now, Rockstar promised there's going to be all this new content, and especially the one thing everyone's been waiting for, heists. There's supposed to be these heists. Heists were the biggest kind of highlight of GTA 5. They were some of the most fun multiple level capers where you would have people who did different roles. You could switch between the people doing the roles to cover each other. One guy would be the safe cracker. One guy would be sniping to cover him. One guy would be the cover guy who kind of like takes on the police and lures them away. They would have these big multi-level heists, and people were like, that would be amazing if we could do that together with your friends online. Rockstar promised that since day one. Guess what? We're what? Almost, let's see, it came out in October. So November, December, January, February, March, April, May. We're 7 months after, we still don't have them. So most people just don't give a shit anymore, right? How long are you going to fucking wait for something that Rockstar promised they would eventually put out? Rockstar has said, oh, it's going to come out in the spring. Guess what? Spring ends in 1 month. So unless the heists come out from now till June, was it 21st or whatever, they lie. So it sucks, but I'm interested in heists. If heists ever do get released, I'd be very interested in jumping online with people and seeing if we can make them happen, see if they could be fun. But right now, it's not happening. No one knows when it's coming out. I'm not going to go back to GTA Online, just do the same kind of shit that I was doing. And that is what it is. If they do come out with heists, maybe I'll check it out again, but where are they? Okay, next question. When I moved to Seattle, this was a common question again. When I moved to Seattle, will I be having a P.O. box set up again? Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, a few years ago, back in here in Connecticut, I got a P.O. box at a local post office. I didn't get the regular size because the regular size is tiny. I got like the big size. It's like a big drawer. And people would send me things from time to time. T-shirts, video games, knickknacks, memorabilia, things that, letters, fan mail, all kinds of cool stuff would come to this P.O. box, okay? But in the last couple of years, it died down a little bit. I stopped talking about it as much, and I wasn't getting a lot of stuff in it. And I'll be honest with you guys, the price is absolutely astronomical. They were charging me, I'm not exaggerating, $600 to $700 a year to have this P.O. box. And the thing that got me if you got a piece of mail, they had no method, they would not notify you. If you didn't pick up mail within 10 days, they would mail it back. So I'm paying $700 a year for them to not tell me when I have mail and then mail it back against my will. Fuck them. Seriously, that's what I said after the end of this last year. I had like 2 or 3 critical pieces of stuff that people were sending me mailed back. I said, fuck the post office, I'm done with this shit. So as of the end of 2013, I canceled the P.O. box and I never went back to it. I said, enough is enough, I'm done with this. I don't want it anymore, okay? Now, I'm moving to Washington State. I don't know how things are out there, okay? First of all, there are more than one place to get a P.O. box. If there's a UPS store, if there's a FedEx, there are other places you can get P.O. boxes, and I actually found out that at those places, when you get a piece of mail, they will send you an email automatically so you know you have mail you need to pick up, right? Duh, it's 2014, not 1996. We should have that set in place. Duh. I don't know what the pricing is. I don't know if there will be stores like that close to my new home. I have not looked into it yet. I don't know what the post office will have out there, what services they'll have available, what the cost of their P.O. boxes will be out there. There's always a possibility that I would reopen a P.O. box, but my question is, what do I need a P.O. box for? And the reason I say that is there hasn't really been anything going on where I need to, you know, I know you guys like to send me fan mail and stuff like that, and I'll be honest with you, I am not going to make my new address public if I can at all help it, because I don't want people just willy-nilly sending stuff or trying to show up. The good news is the new place I'm moving into is a gated community and no one can get in without my permission. Thank goodness. But that being said, yeah, I don't want to give out my new mailing address. And I don't know, realistically, besides like a greeting card here or a letter here, what you guys would send me that you couldn't just send me in an email. I mean, darksidephil@hotmail.com has been my public email forever. If you ever wanted to contact me and just send me a message or whatever, that's the method to really do it. Sending me a physical piece of mail, yeah, it's nice to get it in my hands, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to read it any more than what you're sending me email, because I try to read all my emails on a daily basis, okay? So, I don't know. If there's a reason in the future for me to open up the P.O. box, maybe I will. I'll think about it this year. It's not a priority, especially with all the other stuff I need to spend money on right now, but I'll think about it. Okay. Next question. Hold on a second. Okay, this one's from Neo, and he says, hey Phil, when you first moved out of your parents' house, did your parents have what's called empty nest syndrome? Did they ask you to come back home frequently or move back in completely at any point? How did they feel about you moving out of state? Well, good question, Nia. Because here's the thing, and this is what I think would probably happen with most people who are teenagers. You've lived with your parents your whole life. You've been cooped up with them. Let's face it, teenage years are the rebellious years. You don't want to hear anything your parents have to say. You want to figure out stuff for your own, right? You hate it when your parents are disciplining you or they're being harsh on you. They won't let you go out. They won't let you go to a prom or a dance or hang out with your friends or whatever, because they're so overprotective, right? I know a lot of you guys that I'm talking to right now are probably in that position or were in that position at some point in your life. And so now, when you're talking about moving out for the first time, what happens? Well, I can tell you exactly what happened with my parents. I moved out to college for 1 semester. So, 6 months or so. During that period of time, my parents stopped giving me shit about how I was doing everything wrong with my life. The thing with my parents was no matter what I did, didn't matter if I had straight A's in school, it didn't matter if I never did drugs, never drank, didn't get girls pregnant, right? Didn't matter if I had a reliable group of friends who weren't, degenerates and I wasn't into trouble. Never good enough for them. I was always doing it wrong and there was something I should have been doing better. Oh, you're working that mall job where you make $5 an hour? Why aren't you saving all of your money and spending none of it? That's what you should be doing with your life. Why are you doing this and that? Why are you playing Street Fighter all the time? You should be at home studying, or you should be saving your money doing this and that. No matter what, it was never good enough for them because they thought they were know-it-alls and that they could guide me towards some perfect life, right? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of the times they were right, but sometimes they were wrong. And if I had never ventured out and did the things that I did with my life for myself, I would never have been where I am right now doing something completely adventurous and different as a job. I never would be moving across the country to Washington State. None of this would be happening. So sometimes you got to do stuff for yourself. So what ended up happening was that semester of college that I was away, all of a sudden, I didn't get criticized for spending money. I didn't get criticized for this or that. It all went away because they didn't see me all the time. They saw me maybe, every weekend maybe I would see them because they actually lived close to the college that I was at, or university. I know it's called university, not college, in a lot of the places of the world. And I wouldn't see them every weekend, but I would see them frequently. But they were so not much nicer to me. Then, after that first semester of school, I went back and moved back home because it was too expensive. And for 3.5 years, all I got was shit from my parents again. Oh, you're saving your money, or what are you doing with this? What are you going to do with college? What are you going to do with this? Blah, 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 blah. And then finally, later on, when I graduated from college, I moved into an apartment with 2 roommates, and it was the flip again. Oh, I want to hear about your life because I don't get to see you all the time, and what's this, and no more negativity or anything. And that's kind of how it goes. If you live with your parents, it's a different experience than if you're out and you're doing stuff for yourself, right? Because if you're not talking to them on a day-to-day basis, they don't even know what's going on anyway. They're going to be more interested. They're going to be more receptive. They're not going to be dicks to you because they want to hear from you because they don't see you all the time anymore. It's kind of, you don't know what you have till it's gone. So maybe they're not appreciative of having a son or daughter that's respectful and does things and helps them and listens to them. And then when they're gone, all of a sudden, that's it. They're going to stop being a dick to them because they want to hear from them and actually, know from them what their life's like. So that's kind of what happened with my parents. I'll be honest. At one point in my life, I was very contentious with my parents. And I was like, I'm just going to say fuck you and move out and never come back. Because if you're going to be such a dick to me when I've done nothing wrong to you, I'm just going to get the fuck out of here and have my own life. But then, of course, like I said, we'll help you, we'll be very helpful in certain ways. Like, there was this one point when I lost my job, and I was in dire straits, okay? I still had $2,000 left on a student loan that I had from college, left over, and I was having problems paying my rent. And my parents came out and said, we will pay the student loan for you. So that way, that's one less thing you have to worry about. By the way, that was part of your education anyway, which we feel responsible for, so we'll pay for it. So there have been times when my parents have really helped me out. When I moved from an apartment back to my parents' house to work at a business near them for about a year or two until I was able to afford this condo. That was a huge help. But it's like, who knew that they would even have done that when they were basically hating my guts years before and all of a sudden things change? It all changes. If you're in a horrible living situation right now and you're young, you're in high school, you're in college, and your parents are being dicks, trust me, when you're out of there, it's going to change. They're going to realize what they had. They're going to realize, oh my God, that's my son or daughter that we were being a dick to, and they're probably going to be lighting up. Now, of course, I'm generalizing. It's not going to happen for everyone. That's what's happened for me, and I've heard from many other people that's kind of what's happened as well. So, there you have it. If you're in a bad living position right now, hopefully it won't last forever. All right, next question. Oh, now this was a very, very common question. It's kind of the elephant in the room for this episode of Ask the King. Let's address it now so we can move on to more individualized questions. But a bunch of people asked me this. There are strong rumors going through the business world and the internet that Google/YouTube, who are the same company, have made a bid to buy out Twitch TV. So not all of Twitch TV, which would include Justin TV, which is, more non-gaming stuff, and Twitch TV, which is gaming. Just the gaming division, Twitch TV. They want to buy that division of their company for $1 billion. Okay? Now, I know a lot of people are out there about, oh my God, $1 billion. Yeah, it's a shitload of money. And Twitch has only been around for a few years before they splintered. When they splintered off from Justin TV a few years ago, they became this big entity. Every year they're growing exponentially. And people are watching games more than ever before live streaming rather than on demand like they are on YouTube. One of the reasons why I jumped on Twitch TV last year, right? I got to be part of the new big thing. So, first of all, I want to emphasize it's a rumor. There's no clarification. There is no confirmation from Google, from YouTube, from Twitch. No one will talk about it. In fact, the head of the PR of Twitch came out and said, we do not comment on rumors. What that tells me is basically there is a hint of truth to it, because if it was a blatant lie, they probably would have said no. Instead, they said, we don't comment on rumors, which means there probably is some truth to it. They probably are making a bid to buy out Twitch. Now, for those of you who are terrified right away, and we'll talk about why you may be, don't worry, because it can't be. This is not something that can happen quickly. Because what happens is there are laws in place in the United States to make sure that there are no monopolies. And right now, already, YouTube is kind of seen as the monopoly on video on-demand services because they have the most money and the most server space. Yeah, they have competition like Blip TV and Vimeo and a few other companies, but those guys don't hold a candle to the amount of power, the amount of storage space, and the amount of clout that Google has with YouTube. Right now, Twitch TV is the premier place to live stream gaming, all right? Yeah, there are other places, like Ustream or whatever. Notice how no one talks about those places anymore? It's all about Twitch TV. So they pretty much have the monopoly on the live streaming of gaming. So now you're talking about the company that's already the mega conglomerate when it comes to on-demand video buying the monopoly on streaming. So now basically they have the monopoly on all online video, period. And so they really foresee that if something like this were to happen, that the regulatory agencies of the United States would come in and say, whoa, 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 no, no, no. We got to hash this out. We got to make sure this is kosher. We got to make sure this is not basically making a mega conglomerate that is unstoppable and no one will ever be able to compete with you, because that's not fair competition in the marketplace, and that could create a company that could completely destroy an industry or beat down or control an industry, and that's against the law. So, for the sake of this question, let us assume that this is true, that Google is looking to buy out Twitch TV. There are positives and there are negatives. Let's talk about them. The positives. Right off the bat, Google has tons of money. Google has tons of server space. How many times have you been using Twitch TV? Now, I don't know, maybe some of you don't. Maybe you just watch videos on YouTube. Okay. But if you're watching this as a live stream on Twitch, I'm sure if you're a Twitch user, you're going to know exactly where I'm coming from. Oh, this weekend, there's a big League of Legends tournament. This weekend, it's the StarCraft 2 World Finals. This weekend, the Call of Duty launch event. And all of a sudden, there's a few streams on Twitch that have hundreds of thousands of viewers, and the whole site runs like shit. The videos won't load, the videos crash, the chat won't load, the site won't even load properly, and it disrupts everyone's business, because there are people like me who use Twitch as a supplemental way to get income and to disseminate my content to the internet, right? So just because there's one fucking event going on, the whole site has to be affected, and a lot of people are up in arms about that. We're tired of that bullshit. Why? Because why does this one group get priority treatment and everyone else gets the shit end of the stick? Because we're not League of Legends tournament organizing streamers who are going to get 500,000 people on our stream. It makes no sense. So immediately, if you're thinking, whoa, well, if Google buys them out, immediately they're going to toss money at them. They're going to upgrade all the servers again, and hopefully that will happen where you won't have those issues anymore at all. Every time you stream, it's going to be streamlined and fast and working well, okay? That's one positive. Another positive, and I've said this since the day I started streaming, is that streaming is not lucrative. Live streaming compared to on-demand video on YouTube is incredibly less money-making. Even if during the course of this stream I ran an ad every 8 minutes, having 600 people constantly on the stream, non-stop, I'd probably make 20 bucks. Okay? That's how unlucrative the ads and the ad process and everything here on Twitch is. Now, Twitch has this other thing called subscription-based, where if you have people who support you, they pay a certain amount of money a month, you get a cut of that, and so that's how they support you and you make supplemental income. And I'll be honest with you guys, since I started on Twitch, the ad revenue has dropped, but my subscription revenue thankfully has come up to the point where it kind of made up for that revenue dropping. So right now, Twitch TV and everything that it encompasses, the fact that I'm able to live stream, interact with you guys live in the stream chat, and do all the fun things I do on Twitch, it's fan service for you. I could easily right now say no more live streaming on Twitch, I don't care, and go back to the way I did on-demand video on YouTube, and I would make more money. I'm telling you right now, definitively right now, if every person of the 600 or so people on the stream right now watch this on YouTube instead of on Twitch, I'd make more money doing it that way. But I'm not going to do that. I like the idea of fan service. I like the idea that live streaming is the next generation of where we're going with all of this, and I want to be a part of that. I'm not in this for the money primarily. I'm in it, yes, to make the living, while I'm also having fun and I'm sharing my experiences with you, and we're on the cusp of what's new and interesting and exciting. So, if Google were to buy out Twitch, what's to stop Google from taking their AdSense program, which is very lucrative, and just lifting it from that website and plopping it down on Twitch and having it run? Now you're making more money off of ads than ever before. Maybe they can make it so some ads are unskippable, right? And immediately people who are broadcasting can start making more money. That's maybe a huge positive of Google, all right? That's just a few of the positives. I'm sure there could be many, many more positives as well. Improved interfaces of the website and so on and so forth. But now you need to weigh that and balance that with the negatives that come from Twitch becoming a Google-owned website, which I hate to say it, may outweigh the positives, and here's why I'm saying that. Number one, okay? Number one, for those of you who are users of Google and or YouTube, you will know, if you've used it for any extended period of time, there is no customer service or support on that website, period. I'm going to say that again. There is no customer support for YouTube. If you have an issue, something's not working, I can't add a playlist to my page for some reason. This video keeps erroring out, I don't know why. Something changed, I don't know where they moved it. There's literally no one you can talk to. They don't hire staff to be one-on-one in customer interaction with the people who use the website. What they've set up is a series of support forums where they try to post up topics and common threads of things that are going on and try to respond, but it's awful. The forums are non-responsive. Most of the time, if you post up, you won't get answers for weeks on end. If you ever get an answer, it's a joke. And so when it comes down to it, YouTube has no customer support. Twitch does. Twitch has a Twitter account, Twitch support. They have people who you can email, an email address, and you will get a one-on-one response in a relatively fast amount of time that will be useful. Last year, I couldn't tell you how many times I had questions or issues that I would tweet or I would send them an email, and I got a useful response. I was like, you guys are night and day different from anything Google owns. Because Google doesn't feel you need a human touch or a person to handle an issue. They just think, fuck you, deal with it. You guys are different. What's to say that overnight that Google buys Twitch? Well, guess what? You guys employ 100 people for customer support. You're all laid off. Goodbye. We're going to just have the same fucking forums on Twitch now that we had on YouTube. And if anyone has a problem, go fuck yourself. We don't care. Because we are Google, the mega conglomerate. Tough shit. That would be awful. Okay? Another major problem that's always happened with Google and YouTube, they change things on the website constantly, but they don't tell anyone about it, and they don't explain what changes. So literally one day, I always use this every day. It's a useful thing I use for my YouTube channel. It's gone. Now, did it move somewhere? Is it gone for good? What's the reasoning? And there's no explanation. And they do this all the time. How many times since I've been on YouTube did they force new channel formats on us? 3. They had the new YouTube layout, the even more improved YouTube layout, and now they have the one channel layout. Each one progressively got worse. So what's the change here? What's to stop YouTube from saying, we're taking away 90% of the customization you had on your pages. It's going to be a bland, generic thing. Oh, and by the way, it links into your YouTube channel and Google Plus, and everything's linked. People don't want this. The bottom line is people like Twitch TV. They like the functionality. They like the way it looks. They like the chat the way it is. What they want is a more stable website. That is what people want. Is that what Google is going to give them, or are they going to give them the more stable website with all this crazy shit? And of course, the big one that I have not mentioned yet that everyone is really worried about, copyright issues. Because back in December, YouTube changed their site policy. This new policy went into effect, wiped everyone's videos, and all of a sudden everyone had thousands of videos that were flagged and content ID matched, and they had all their ad revenue taken away. Some of them had the videos completely muted. Some videos got blocked or deleted. It was a hideous fucking mess. And unless you became a managed partner like I luckily did under Machinima, unfortunately you weren't protected from any of that. What's to change this on Twitch where one day, that's it. We detected a song on your live stream. You're copyrighted, right? Now, admittedly, it would be a lot harder for YouTube to institute, or Google, let me say Google, to institute that kind of protections on a live stream because it's live, right? When you upload a video to YouTube, the video is on the YouTube server. They have time to review it while it's processing to see if they can match any kind of music or audio visuals, and then flag it. If you're live streaming, it's live. It's already live out there. So maybe what could happen is they're monitoring your stream, and if you get too many matches, now your stream just gets turned off. Oh well, too many content ID matches, no more streaming for you. And this is the kind of stuff that everyone's terrified of because YouTube's already embroiled in this copyright issue battle, and now all of a sudden they're going to buy out Twitch. Is it going to be just as bad or worse? So there are positives and negatives to a Google buying out Twitch kind of a deal. Personally, I hate it when I see a successful business like Twitch that's doing well on its own. It's growing, like we said, it's growing exponentially. They just got exclusive partnerships with Xbox One and PS4 to be the streaming software for those consoles. And then they get bought out, and now they lose their vision. they lose what they were going for. All of a sudden the site operates and it's not what it used to be. And that's what happened with YouTube. They got bought out. Those guys now live on some fucking tropical island, sipping Mai Tais and getting hand jobs and back rubs from fucking Thai hookers. And that's what they do with their life, because they made their buck and they don't care about YouTube anymore. They left. So is that what's going to happen with Twitch? Oh, we made $1 billion paycheck. Well, fuck everyone. I don't care if the whole company gets laid off. I made my payday. Fucking take it to the hills. Go buy yourself a nice fucking castle villa in fucking Italy and have, you know, these hot-ass Italian women doing things to you all day. I mean, and then the website goes to shit and everything falls apart. Copyright destroys it. Who cares? I made my $1 billion. I don't know, man. I don't know. I do not know. Now, again, it's all rumor. This is rumor. This could take years to even go through, especially if they're going to suspect it of being a monopoly. But we'll see what happens. I will have more to talk about that subject in the future, all right? Okay. Next question. Now, this is a good one. This one is from the Airy Lord, who we haven't heard from in a while, since he went off to college earlier last year. Let's hear in from him, because this is actually a really good question, and I like his he gets us caught up with him a little bit. So here we go. He says, so a day ago I was actually accepted as an intern this summer for a company that makes an app for the iPhone called Amino. It's basically a social networking tool that has forums It's a social networking tool that has forums and news feeds for specific areas of interest such as video gaming or anime. The app is great in bringing people together who have common interests. And allowing people to meet who might not have met otherwise. In your community alone, I've made some amazing friends and I'll be friends with for the rest of my life. But do you ever think that the online world could be bad for people? I personally found the online world hard to break from when I transitioned to college and had to interact with real people on a daily basis. In high school, when I was being bullied, I generally used YouTube and online friends to escape from the real world. But now that I have real life friends who support and care for me, the online world doesn't hold as much importance to me anymore. Do you think that the online world and social media is negatively affecting this generation of kids and teens? And what are some ways to break that hold that this immersive world has on people? That is an incredibly insightful question, and I actually would like to address that for a little bit here. You know, it's just like I said earlier on. I said that the internet generation is changing, right? I was the generation who, when I was growing up, there was social media, but it was very simplified. Forum posts, IMing on AOL Instant Messenger back and forth to people who were on AOL. And that was the extent of it. There was no Facebook, there was no Twitter, even go back, there was no MySpace, none of that really social networking stuff. Friendster, anyone remember Friendster? Holy crap. None of that existed. Okay? And so really, primarily for me as I was growing up, it was all about the in-person world. And then all of a sudden, when all the social media stuff exploded in the mid to late 2000s, I was overwhelmed with it because I was like, I'm not part of any of this. And people were saying, are you on Facebook? Are you on? No, I'm not. I don't know anything about it. Then, of course, as I began to do stuff on YouTube and then later on subsequently on Twitch, people required that I had a way to interact with them, answer questions, take in feedback, give them information on what I would be doing with streaming and videos and such. And so Twitter and Facebook became a necessary evil. I had to learn them, okay? Overall, I can see them as a double-edged sword. Because you could have a very small-knit group of people who you talk to online. These are the people who you find you associate yourself with. You find things in common with them. You have common interests. You communicate through tweets, through Facebook posts. And you become this kind of online clique, right? But does that clique equate to anything in real life at all? Is being with a certain clique of people in high school, if you're being bullied or you're being antisocial in high school or for whatever reason, is that going to equate into something positive later on in life? Could it be a support group during that time? Absolutely. But will that turn into something that's going to help you later? Are those going to be lifelong friends you're going to know? Or is there going to be a point in your life when you move on and they disseminate, and what was the point? And what I'm seeing more often than not now, especially online, you got these online movements for things that you don't even understand. The people who are followers of these pop bands, like One Direction or Justin Bieber. There was one I saw today. I don't even know what the hell they were called. Some band in Australia. The number one Twitter trend today was like Ewoks Apocalypse. And why was it? Because this band, not even a band, let's face it, they're 4 kids who sing lip-synced bullshit from fucking shit that was made in the studio. They're not real musicians. This is what gets sold to people these days. But they're becoming incredibly popular in Australia. They have like 2.8 million Twitter followers in Australia alone. And they thought it would be funny today to make all Ewok jokes of Star Wars. So they're posting up pictures, photoshopped Ewoks in them. Oh, this guy looks like an Ewok. Work out like an Ewok. They show Ewok in a gym lifting weights. And Ewokocalypse became the #1 trend on Twitter. Now, there's millions of people who are friends of these people who probably talk to each other on Twitter. Wow, it's a big social media and we all support each other. Well, the Lady Gaga fans. God damn it. Hold on a second. I have to restart my fucking fuse again. It looks like I'm going to have to move what I need to move here. Terrible. Hold on. Alright, well, unfortunately what happened is my air conditioner, I'm going to turn it off right now. So I can tell you right now, that's what's causing this to happen. Unfortunately, if you're watching this on YouTube, by the way, you're not interrupted at all. You just might have noticed some stuff going off. If you're watching this on Twitter right now, on Twitch right now, you're not seeing it because the stream is dead. I'm waiting for my modem to reboot. What's happening is I had to reposition some plugs here in the condo recently. Because recently, there have been some problems with a power line outside. Twice in the past year, this power line got damaged by storms and such. And when it got damaged by storms, it would turn off half the power in my condo. And that just happens to be where all my computer stuff, my modem, were plugged into. Okay? So I ran an extension cord across my unit. So everything's plugged into the socket that doesn't get affected. But now that socket is getting overloaded now that I'm using the air conditioner. And the fuse keeps popping. And that's what's been happening. It happened 3 times this week now, so I can't do it anymore. I'm going to have to later today. I'm going to end up having to move all the shit out of my bookcase and replug all that stuff back behind the bookcase so this doesn't happen anymore, okay? So I apologize to those of you who are distracted, obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube. You're not affected, but the people who are watching on stream literally just got dropped in the middle of my thought, okay? So give it a second. We'll see if it comes back. I'm going to actually turn off the stream and try to turn it back on here and see if we can get it back. Okay, here we go. We have 700 people on the stream. Fuck. That sucks, man. Alright, it's coming back. God damn it. That really sucked. Alright, we're back, everyone. My fuse popped again. After Ask the King, I'm going to end up having to rerun my wire to another socket because this is not working. The thing turning off constantly. I'm going to have to fix it. But let's get through Ask the King. I've turned off my air conditioner, so the fuse should not pop again for the rest of this episode. Okay? All right. So, and actually it's funny because now I'm actually noticing that the light is really fucking bright now. The lights are actually shining brighter now that the air conditioner's off. How funny is that? Okay. So getting back on topic. What I was saying was, right now, there's what? 2.8 million people who are fans of this pop band, they're all tweeting Ewokocalypse, they're all part of this community, wow, we love it, we're all parts of friends or whatever. Are any of those people ever really going to have social interaction in real life? Or is it just going to be, we all celebrate on Twitter and we go to concerts and that's it? And I think that there is a real human aspect that is now being lost in this generation of young people because they don't have the in-person friends and stuff that they used to. It's all online now. It's all on Facebook, Twitter, texting. Where is the real social interaction? Where is the real relationships? Are people learning real ways to interact with people emotionally, how to have a real discussion with someone, not be embarrassed about talking about stuff? It could be an issue. It could definitely be an issue, especially if you're using that as a crutch at a point in your life, and then later on in your life, now you have to have real friends, you need to have real social interactions to get into business and stuff, and you don't have them, okay? It's weird. It's a weird situation. It's definitely a time of transition right now that we're experiencing, unlike any other. I mean, previously, what other generation would you have ever thought that you would have this conversation, right? But the bottom line is, there are people who their major source of social interaction is something like Twitter. I'm a believer, right? I'm a believer And that's what I am. And that's how they identify themselves. But when Justin Bieber isn't popular anymore, how are you going to identify yourself? You know what I mean? What people need to start doing is identifying themselves for themselves and not for I'm part of this social group, that social network, this group of fans, that group of fans. They need to start being more individualized around themselves. I am my own brand. Darkside Phil is its own brand. Yes, I'm a gamer, but I'm also a movie buff. But I'm also a person who likes to do vlogs, and I'm outspoken about stuff. But there are many facets to who I am that become the Darkside Phil brand, right? I don't just say I am a believer, and that's all I am in my life, and I associate with just those people. You know, I'm many things. I think that people need to find a way to get their own individual identity and make sure not to fall into these social groups, these online social groups, and that's the only support that you have. Because the bottom line is it may not be around forever. Things change. What happens if Twitter goes out of style? Now what? You know, these things can happen and these things will happen. So be careful. Be careful with what you get involved with online, because if online interaction is 100% of your interaction, you don't have in-person friends, that's a slippery slope. Let's face it, very shortly, I'm going to be moving out of Connecticut, right? I'm going to be moving to Washington State. I'm going to do a big event where I'm going to have all the people back who have been friends since I've been here, who are going to be here to play Street Fighter. What if I never made those friends? So now I'm moving from Connecticut, nobody cares, right? John Rambo has offered to help me move and pack or whatever I need help with. That's awesome of him to do that. He's going to also see if OJ can help at all. But what if I had no one to help? Now I'm reliant on spending money to have outsiders come do it. You know, these are the kind of things you need to have friends, right? You need to have in-person friends. You need to have in-person interaction, in-person activities. The internet is not the be-all, end-all of existence. And especially when it comes to business, because let me tell you, the business world is so behind the times. I mean, just look at this whole process of me buying this house in Washington. How many times I have to talk to you on the phone? I need you could you be somewhere in person for this? No. This is modern 2014. This is not 1992. I don't have time to talk to you on the phone. I'm live streaming. I can't do that. We need to do it all over the internet. And to them, it's like, duh. So you need to be sure that you have those in-person skills, those in-person interactions as well. Social interactions, social skills to be able to talk to someone, to have a conversation in person, and not you're shy or introverted. You need to be able to be outgoing, to be able to understand things and stick up for yourself in person, because you may be the most staunch, strong, headstrong, tough guy online, and the second you go to buy a car in person, that guy's gonna fucking trick the shit out of you. You're gonna buy a lemon for a ton of money, and you're like, oh, fuck me, because you didn't have the social skills to get through that and be as strong in person and to figure out what was really going on. So there you have it. That's my answer. Unfortunately, it's kind of a little screwed up because the stupid fuse flipped. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back. We got lots more questions to go. It's absolutely ridiculous. Luckily, some of these are pretty long. But, all right. Break time. I'll be right back. If you're watching on Twitch, don't go anywhere. If you're watching on YouTube, go to the next part of the video. Thanks.